Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to this special off-week episode of the Arrow After Show. My name is John Campea. I am the host of the Arrow After Show. Thank you so much for being here. We're really glad that you decided to make us a part of your evening. There was no Arrow episode tonight because they're on their mid-season break. We did the mid-season finale last week. But, we decided we don't want to wait until mid to late January to talk Arrow. We thought this would be a great opportunity for us fans to all just get together here and talk about the season so far and where we see Arrow going from here, particularly in the second half of the season, which is going to be really key. So first of all, let me introduce the people who are joining me, as always. First of all, sitting to my immediate right is Kaori. Kaori, thanks for being here.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, guys.
And beside her, of course, is the other half of Team Amazing, Anne.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
And actually, why don't you guys talk for a second about, on my YouTube channel here, which is, John Campea Movie Blog TV, we now have more than just Arrow. We also talk about Sleepy Hollow. I'm going to be starting a Grimm after show pretty soon, but also we've added Team Amazing is doing their videos now on the channel, which you can see on the channel. So for those of you guys who don't know much about Team Amazing yet, do you guys want to explain what the Team Amazing stuff is?
We are Team Amazing.
Yeah, just a lot of fun stuff. And we talk about nerdy pop culture stuff. We answer relationship questions. And we just have fun. So stop over and leave comments, and we'd love to respond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of cool videos already up, and we're working on a lot more on all that fun stuff.
Yeah, let us know what you like to see or what you want to hear, and maybe we'll be able to make something out of that. We're excited about it.
I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat board who's watching us live. We're doing the show. If you're watching this pre-recorded, thank you so much for watching. But we got a bunch of people watching live right now. They're all saying hello. Apparently, some of them are saying, John and Ann are my parents. Well,
they're my parents,
wow.
actually.
That is impossible because I'm a virgin. So that's technically impossible. Okay, I take that back. I'm no virgin. All right. So let's talk about... what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit ourselves here about the season so far and where we see it going. But then what we want to do is spend the rest of the episode just really making this a conversation. We want you guys on the chat board to give us your thoughts and ask your questions, and we'll make this a two-way conversation for the rest of the show. Just a bunch of Arrow fans sitting around talking about Arrow since it's on mid-season break right now. So I will get us started.
Okay.
Since I'm already talking at this point. I said this on an episode before that we did of the Arrow After Show. I was nervous about a sophomore jinx. I was worried because I liked the first season of Arrow very much. I thought it was a show that just got stronger and stronger as the show went on. And I was worried going into season 2 that now they'd fumble the ball. I thought it was a great climax, season 1, with the Glades getting destroyed. I thought that was really ballsy. I didn't think they'd do it. And I was kind of afraid, okay, they crescendoed, the show's going to kind of go downhill from here. But the show has been great. It really has. It's very few missteps as far as I'm concerned in this season so far. It's been great, all culminating in that mid-season finale that we had last week with Slade in the chair, and he's got the patch on and all that kind of stuff, and we're seeing all these different angles developing. The way they ended the thing with Barry Allen was really cool. I have been very clear that I'm not happy with what they've been doing with Laurel so far, but I do have hope that they're going to improve on that, and the writers of the show will reinvest in the character and bring us somewhere good. I'm still not sold on Roy, the character of Roy. But I'm always kind of annoyed by Thea. But we will see where those people go. But they have really been strong with the trinity of the show. Diggle, Oliver, and Felicity. And they just, when those three are together, the show is amazingly, addictive. Mm-hmm. When the three of them, the chemistry they have is just terrific. It's fantastic. I've been really up on the episodes and the seasons for. The action's gotten better. We see more of the mythology coming into play. I'm just super stoked about the season so far. So, Carrie, let's go to you. Your thoughts on the season so far.
I think that this season 1 was great, But season 2 is so much better, and I'm so happy that it's been like this. And I love that there are so many new characters added, and everything's so quick. Like in season 1, there were moments when it was a little slow pace, and there was a couple episodes that were a little more mellow. But I didn't really feel that at all in this season so far. Everything is just going so fast, but it's a perfect pace. It's a perfect pace. And unlike you, John, I like Roy Harper, so I'm going to say I like where Roy Harper's going, and I think he's going somewhere, especially with the injection that we saw last week, and I can't wait to see that happen. Laurel, something's going to happen. It has to happen. And I love that the Black Canary came in so soon. I love that Manu Bear's character, Slade Wilson's in Starling City now. Just everything's so good, and I just cannot wait for January to come.
Anne?
Can I say ditto on everything my better half of Team Amazing just said?
I
I have to give big props to the Arrow writers this season. They've definitely done a great job of not only integrating what the comic book fans know, the stories and the things that we fall in love with the comics, but they've also brought in an element of surprise for us as well. We can't always predict everything, and it's been a fantastic season of surprises as well. I mean, I didn't expect to see Slade in Starling City this soon. I didn't expect Shadow to get killed in the last episode. I thought her character would go further. I didn't expect Solomon Grundy at all.
Yeah,
that was a huge, right from the beginning, that was a huge surprise. Yeah.
And
but I don't think he's gone. I don't think we
no.
talked about that before.
He's definitely not dead. And the thing that the show does well and the writers do well is that they give subtle nods to things that the comic book fans would know, but it's not excessive. And I've said that before, and I'll say it again. They do a brilliant job of doing that. It's just woven into the story very well. And they're handling all of the story arcs perfectly, in my opinion.
Can I add that the Flash, Barry Allen, in the last 2 episodes, he's been really, really good. And he's getting me excited for this Flash pilot. And even if there wasn't a Flash pilot, him being part of Oliver's life would just be great. Arrow and Flash together. Just something I would love to see.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't heard yet, so here's where things stand with the Flash. I mean, some people think, oh, it's official, the Flash got picked up for a series. It hasn't. Here's where the Flash is right now. It's been ordered for a pilot. CW has ordered a pilot. Now, I had that conversation with somebody the other day and said, hey, no, it's not a series yet. It's just got a pilot. And my friend said back to me, well, if they ordered the pilot, that means they're going to do the show. No. About 80% of pilots do not get picked up for series. As a matter of fact, speaking of superheroes, don't forget it was just a year or 2 ago that Wonder Woman was ordered for pilot, and everybody thought, oh, Wonder Woman got ordered for pilot. That means it's going to be a show. Didn't make it out of pilot. I mean, so they had the pilot, and the network decided not to pick it up for series. And that's what happens to most television shows that get a pilot ordered, and then the series doesn't get picked up. So I'm not saying they're not going to do a Flash show. I'm just saying don't let the fact that they've ordered a pilot lead you to believe that it's a done deal now, that there's going to be a Flash show. I still think they don't know. I think CW is going to wait and see what they're able to make out of the pilot and kind of evaluate where they are with Green Arrow as a whole. And I think they're still going to, I think they have some thinking to do. If they might think Barry Allen might be better served just being in Arrow, or whether or not they're going to be able to do something successful as its own standalone show. So we'll see where they go from there.
And sorry to cut you off.
Just before you do that, what you were going to say, I was just going to let guys know. Hey guys, we're just going to go to the questions here really quickly. So if you've got questions or topics you want to bring up for us to talk about, just jump on the chat there and start firing in your questions and comments, and Anne's going to keep track of them, and we'll get to those in just a few minutes. So anyway, Anne, what were you about to say?
Before I say what I was about to say, I'm having flashbacks about this weekend doing AMC mailbag with you and how quickly the comments go when you call for questions. But I was going to say that I have to be a little bit selfish in the fact that I part of me does want a Flash series, but if the same people are going to have to be involved in Arrow and Flash, I would rather have them still heavily involved in Arrow. So I'm talking Mark Guggenheim, I'm talking Andrew Kreisberg, I'm talking Jeff Johns. If their commitment has to be on one or the other, then I'm going to choose Arrow over Flash any day.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all goes. I mean, as far as where they're going to go next, there's a lot of different things going on. I mean, obviously, first of all, here's some of the big hanging questions we've got from the season finale. So we know Brother Blood is working for Slade. Okay, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Slade fit in with the League of Assassins? Is there absolutely no connection whatsoever? Is there a potential future adversarial thing going on there? I have a feeling that the way they've been doing Arrow, where everything seems to be connected on some level,
right,
that at some point they're going to show a connection. Not necessarily that the League of Assassins and Slade are working together. I'm not suggesting that, but there's got to be a connection there somewhere. So I'm very curious to see how that plays in. We've asked this before, but they've already name dropped Raj Al Ghul. So when is he going to pop up? We know one of his daughters, not Talia, but another one of his daughters is going to be showing up. I mean,
Nisa.
They haven't ruled out Talia. Mm-hmm. So we could see a Talia Al Ghul show up at some point. So that's going to become interesting as well. There's still some unsettled issues that Arrow also has from previous seasons. Huntress, look, I wasn't big on the Huntress character, but they left her out there for a reason. And I've got to believe that Huntress will be back, and we'll see what kind of a role she plays. So there's so many, and then of course there's Hive. Are we going to see more?
Argus.
Yeah, Argus.
Amanda Waller.
Yeah,
I
mean, there's so many.
things.
They look. They've
Amazo.
done such a great job. Amazo, such a great job of opening all these doors. So, and here's the really cool thing: you could argue and say, you shouldn't have all these doors open at once. I mean, deal with one storyline and then move on to the next. But the nice thing about them having all these doors open now at this mid-season finale is that you don't know where the next episode's going to go. Mm-hmm. We don't know if the next episode is going to be about Slade, if it's going to be about the League of Assassins, if it's going to be about Argus, if it's going to be about Diggle doing his own thing, if it's going to be about Barry Allen. Well, we know it's not going to be Barry Allen. But the fact that they've got all these doors open at once means that we as an audience really have no idea what they're going to do in the next episode and what we might learn and find out, which is really cool.
And the writers of Arrow have said that they don't make mention of characters unless they intend to either bring that character on the show or at least have a moment where that character is actually in focus. So Ra's al Ghul, Amanda Waller we saw for a second, so I'm sure we're going to see her back. Like you said, the Huntress has a possibility of coming back. There were references to Ted Kord being Blue Beetle, so that could potentially be.
Well, there was a reference to Kord Industries,
yes,
wasn't there?
In the last
point?
episode.
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't zoom in on these little things unless they have the intention of actually developing a storyline with them. So I'm excited to see all of these little hints and subtleties come to the story.
And we're probably not going to see everything by the season's end either. It's going to just keep going and going and going. I want to know what really happened on the island. I know that Oliver thinks, or he says that his friends are dead, but does he really know if Manu Bennett's character died or not?
Well, I mean, they've already proved several times. He thought Sarah was dead. Look, she's alive. He thought Slade was dead. Look, he's alive. So, I mean, and some other people in the chat board are pointing out that there are people in the chat board are willing to bet that Dr. Ivo is most likely still alive.
I think so too. Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen on the island at this point, but I mean, I think that's a pretty fair guess.
Well, the island thing just progressively got extremely more interesting than present time. I mean, they're both great, but last season, the island's parts had some, a little more boring moments, but this season, every time you're at the island and the flashback, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? Whoa, I can't believe this happened. It's all developing and coming into play. It's amazing. And
people in the chat board are reminding us that it's not only the guys we already mentioned. Bronze Tiger is still out there.
Yeah, China White.
True.
China White is still out there. Deadshot is still out there.
Yeah.
And they left a big open kind of story thread. When last we saw Deadshot parting ways with Diggle, it's like they opened a whole nother door there of possibilities. What something it might. So I mean, they've got so many things still left. Oh gosh, they got seasons worth of stuff they can still do,
definitely.
and I think they're going to give us a lot in season 2. So okay, let's go to the chat board, guys. Let's make this about all of us here talking about Arrow. So Anne, you're in charge of picking what gets talked about. What are people saying in the chat board? What's being asked?
Let's see here. Alex Turner, actually, I got this message from her last week, actually, after our episode, so I wanted to bring this up. Her theory is that she thinks Slade attempts to kill Sarah, which explains why Oliver said he saw Sarah die twice. And this may cause a bigger rift between them. And that kind of spirals into the events that we'll see with Slade losing his eye and all of that stuff. What do you guys think of that theory?
John?
Well, I mean, okay, so you're right. Oliver said he thought she died twice. The first time, obviously, is the boat. That was the first time he thought she died. And I think some of us made an assumption. I know I kind of did in my head that Oliver killed her or believes he killed her on the island. But now, after the events of the mid-season finale, it would stand to reason if Slade's gone a little bit crazy and he finds out that it was either Shadow or Sarah was going to die, he may have a hate on for Sarah, and maybe he killed Sarah, or what Oliver thought was killing her on the island, which would then turn Oliver against Slade on the island, and finishing the island storyline with the big final epic battle between Slade and Oliver. That's a possibility. I mean, we're just taking guesses at this point, but I think that's a fairly good guess on your part. What do you think, Kaori?
I think it's a very interesting theory, and it's a very big possibility because we never know where this show is going to go. But I would like to think that it's something bigger than Black Canary or Shadow, that it's something else. It's just hard. That's hard for me, Anne.
No comment.
Somebody a subsmate in the chat board is asking, do you think Yao Fei may still be alive? That would be a tough one to buy.
I don't think so.
No, knelt down, gun to the head, bullet through his brain.
Just like Shadow?
Yeah, I think he's gone, yeah.
Yeah, I think Shadow's...
like how people believe there's this magical Lazarus pit that will
that's
save
what
everybody.
It all comes down to, right?
Yes.
Like, if we're going to talk about maybe Shadow still being alive, maybe Tommy still being alive, maybe Yao Fei still being alive, then the only possible thing outside of magic and whatever that is left is going back to Ra's al Ghul and his association with the Lazarus Pit mythology in DC.
Or I think we might be seeing more of them through flashbacks.
Flashbacks, yes, but could they be in Sterling City now? And I think the only way you could do that is if the showrunners of Arrow and CW are willing to go the Lazarus Pit route. Now, the possibility is already there because Merlin comes back and he's all healed. So it's possible that's a League of Assassins Lazarus Pit thing. It's possible that Sarah could be a Lazarus Pit thing. Maybe that's it. Maybe Sarah really did die on the island.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Maybe Slade is a Lazarus Pit thing. Maybe Tommy will be a Lazarus. I mean, that's the thing about the show. Even the people who are dead, we're not totally sure we're dead. So even though I'm saying Yao Fei, just no, count him out because we saw him get a bullet to the head. If they decide to introduce Lazarus Pit, then all the bets are off. What do you guys think?
It's hard because it's like, at what point do you cut it off?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. That's true.
I could see maybe, like you said, Merlin coming back and that's the reason for him healing. I totally buy that. But when 5 characters come back and the Lazarus Pit is the reason why, I don't like that. I think it's saturated. I think that the Lazarus Pit is supposed to be kind of this like... I don't know.
Place.
Yeah, really special place. And if it's saturated with all these people going there who have been shot or whatever and getting healed by its powers, then I think it kind of demystifies the glory of what the Lazarus Pits are supposed to be.
And here's the thing too. I remember thinking this back in the day after Superman had died in the comic books and they brought him back, and then Colossus had died in the X-Men comic books and they brought him back, and this whole trend started of the dead comic book characters all coming back. It ruined comic books to some degree because you're always, as a comic book reader, you're always kind of holding your breath when you're seeing your character in danger and maybe one of your characters dies. I remember it was a big deal when Colossus died in the X-Men comics. It was a big deal, but when they brought him back, you just realize it broke a part of my happiness with comics because you just realize now, so none of them are ever really in any danger. As long as they keep just bringing everybody back from the dead, then nobody's ever really in danger. Yeah. And it's the danger that gets me emotionally invested in it. And when you realize, even if they put a bullet in this guy's head, he can be back next week, then it takes something away. And I hope they don't. If they do a Lazarus Pit, I hope they create a story mechanism that suggests it can only be used once or something like that. I just hope they don't get raise people from the dead happy. Because if they do that, then when we watch Oliver fight Solomon Grundy, we don't have to sweat it. Because even if Grundy rips his head off, we know Oliver will be back next week. You know, you got to have that sense of danger. What do you guys think?
I agree with you completely. It's perfect. What you just said.
All right, what else we got in there?
Okay, so, Starling City is being inhabited by all of these people from the comic books, whether it be villains or heroes or whatever. What's the fate of Diggle, though? Because he is not one of them.
Before I answer the question, Jonathan Rivera in the chat board said something. Lazarus Pit equals Tahiti, right, guys?
Yes.
Very funny.
Clever.
Very, very, very clever. That was funny. Okay, so sorry. So what was the question again?
Well, this is actually my question, is that with the introduction of all these characters that really do tie into, at least in the comics, the Green Arrow comic book, what's the fate of characters that aren't in the comics, like Diggle's character, for example?
I think they're going to tie Diggle in and have him go after Deadshot. I mean, it's not done with him and Deadshot. They still have something going on. And the last time they encountered each other, Deadshot said something like along the lines of, "It's not what you think it is," or something. Do you remember? I vaguely remember that.
Right.
So I think Diggle's going to have to go after him.
See, somebody asked last week, okay, with Roy getting the injection, if he's going to have like, if he's going to have like meta-human power now because of the injection, then why does Oliver or Arrow need Diggle? And to me, what makes Diggle so great isn't that he's the big badass, although he is. Diggle is a big badass. But it's that he is somebody Oliver trusts. He is his brother in all this. They've become partners and rely on each other. And it's the trust. Oliver will take the trust over the power, I believe. So, like, that's fine. Roy can come out of the serum thing and have Superman-like strength, and Barry Allen can come back to Starling City with his superpower of speed and all that kind of stuff. That's all fine and good. None of them will replace Diggle, because Diggle is the one that Oliver would trust his life with. And that's what makes him so valuable to not only Oliver as a character, but to the show as a whole, and why I think they've handled him so well. Same thing with Felicity. There are smarter people in the DC universe. We know this. Much smarter people than Felicity in the DC universe, but Oliver would trust his life with her. And that's why they are the Trinity in this show. That's why they're this great team, and they have this great chemistry, and I love it. And so I think Diggle's place in this show is very secure.
But it scares me, that trust, because if the writers were ballsy and wanted to create a little bit of a shakeup, those are the two characters you would go after, because those are the two characters we are very emotionally attached to as viewers.
And Slade said he was going to go after his friends.
Yes, and they did that a little bit in season 1 with Diggle and Oliver kind of having issues with trusting each other and what to do and having each other's back. But Diggle, like you said, he trusts Diggle, but I also think what's so great about Diggle, bless you, is that he is Oliver's voice of reason. When Oliver is starting to become a little irrational, Diggle brings him back to earth and tells him, this is what we got to talk about this. So I think like you said, there's a place for Diggle and Felicity, always.
Okay.
I just want to point something out. Some people are saying there's a discussion going on in the chat board right now saying Warner Brothers is only 50% owner in CW. CBS owns the other 50%. That is not true. As far as I know, that is how CW got formed. But I do believe now CW is completely under the ownership of Warner Brothers. I do believe that, it's completely under the ownership of Warner Brothers now.
I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Do you guys think that in this season, Thea will find out about Daddy Merlin being her father? And if so, what do you think is going to be the backlash of it?
Yes, because Arrow so far, when it comes to family drama, when it comes to the family drama and family issues, they seem to resolve those very fast. Mm-hmm. They seem to introduce an issue, and sometimes by the end of that episode, they've addressed it. So we saw the latest little Thea hissy fit with her mom, and then the lawyer shows up. No, your mom was just doing it to protect you. Oh my gosh, my mom! And then she goes to the prison and she's with her mom. So I have a feeling with this whole Merlin thing, and Merlin does seem to be putting the pressure on to make this happen sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Even though he's been scared off by Ra's al Ghul, he'll be back. And I do think, I'll be surprised if we haven't seen Thea find out about her true lineage by episode 4 of the second half of the season.
Do you think it might result in her turning into Speedy? Because Oliver does nickname her Speedy, and there's a female Speedy in the comic books.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, okay? And I know some of you guys are going to be mad at me when I say this, but here's the truth. Sometimes people making comic book movies or comic book-based TV shows, sometimes they will just drop Easter eggs. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything. For example, Dark Knight Rises, right? At the end of The Dark Knight Rises, we find out that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character's legal name is Robin. And then all these people, I mean, I'd have these arguments with people on my AMC shows who jump up and say, see, he was actually Robin. No, he wasn't Robin. He wasn't in the least Robin. There was nothing Robin about him. Christopher Nolan himself said in an interview with MSNBC that was just a tip of the cap to the fans. Just because they threw in the little reference of Robin does not... Guess what? For those of you who don't know a lot about Batman, Robin's real name wasn't Robin. Just letting you know that. It was Dick Grayson or Jason Todd or one of the other guys who went on and became him. But so just because, it doesn't mean they won't, but just because Oliver nicknamed her Speedy, that I got a feeling that is most likely just a tip of the cap, a little Easter egg in there because Green Arrow comic book fans will recognize it. And I think that was just a little treat to the comic book fans who know what the reference means. I don't think it necessarily means Thea is going to become Speedy.
I just thought about that because Speedy had, drug issues in the comic book, and she also had daddy issues. Not quite the same. So I thought maybe that might be a possibility. What do you think, Anne?
I think I'm with John on this one. That is just a nod to the character's name. I actually believe more, although I don't totally buy the character yet, that Roy will become Red Arrow or Arsenal or Speedy or any of those characters over Thea becoming that character.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Potter Broadway fan 11 asks, what do you think they need to do to make Laurel's character more interesting?
That's tough.
Well, I mean, look, I have poo-pooed on the Laurel slut character a lot this season, but kind of like I mentioned in the mid-season finale, I actually used to really like the Laurel character. I like the way they used her and they navigated that character. I like the fact that they got her then involved with Tommy, and then at some point she actually grew real affection for Tommy. I gotta tell you, season 1, I liked Laurel, and I just felt like they've lost their way with Laurel in this season. And I think there was parts of it that either they didn't really know what to do with her, or they've just kind of fumbled the ball a bit on letting us as an audience really understand what they were trying to do with her. Because she's been a very inconsistent character. Sometimes not even showing up for episodes, which makes it hard for us to get reinvested in her. When you have her disappear for episodes at a time, it's difficult for us to get reinvested in her as a character. And then when she is there, she had this real all of a sudden major substance abuse problem out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And I won't say who, but somebody involved with Arrow may have suggested to me that her substance abuse problem is not actually gone yet. But they've been very inconsistent with how they dealt with her. I think the first thing they need to do is to establish what her role in this season is going to be. Now, whether that is as a supportive friend to Oliver, whether it's as a victim, whether it's as somebody who's going to get on the inside of the Trinity and figure things out, whether she's just going to become the staunch law person in the city, in the prosecution's office, they have to figure out what her identity is this season, and then they need to start making her consistent in that role. And I think once they start doing that, and we've got a base for her as a character, then they can start branching out a little bit and expose other areas and nuances to her. But right now, there's no consistency either in her direction as a character or in her even attendance in the show. And it's really hard to like her at this point. But I think if they can get back to that, I think they can get me back on board. You're the other one who really doesn't like Laurel.
Yeah.
What would they have to do for you to get back on board?
Well, I think that there is one consistency about Laurel, and is that she has lost a lot of people in her life. She's lost Oliver and gained him again. She's lost Sarah. She's almost lost her father a couple times. She's
lost Tommy.
Yeah, she's lost Tommy.
She lost her, in many ways, she lost her own mother because of the divorce.
So in that sense, there's that consistency right there. But she needs to do something about that. Maybe because of all her losses, become powerful and stronger and do something instead of constantly feel battered and beaten and go to substance abuse. She needs to become stronger with all the things that she's gone through. That's what I think, that she needs to become more powerful through all her losses.
And let me reiterate, what they do not need to do with her is turn her into the Black Canary. That they do not need to do. Have I mentioned before that would be a stupid idea? Stupid idea.
They might do something great, though. You never know.
If I found out that they were going to do that really stupid thing and turn Laurel into Black Canary, which, before anybody jumps on the chat board and say, John, she is Black Canary, because in the comic books and TV show are different things. They can go different paths. But if they did decide to do that, I'll get on the after show and I'll say, this is stupid, but then I'll sit back and watch to see what they have planned, because maybe it is something amazing, maybe it's something great, but I really don't think they're going to make her Black Canary. It'd be inexplicable, absolutely inexplicable. Anyway, Anne, what about you? What do you think they need to do to make us care about Laurel again?
Confidence in the writers that that's not going to happen. If it does, that it's not going to happen for a few seasons. For me, Laurel's shtick in the first season was the love triangle. And while I hate love triangles, that was her role for me. She was the connection between this relationship that Oliver and Tommy had. They would either fight over her, they would befriend her, whatever it was. Tommy dies, and that's gone. And then now with the season 2, helping her dad through drug problems, or her dad helping her. For me, again, she's the crutch to Detective Lance. But really, if that character goes away, her purpose again goes away for me. Somebody does bring up a good point that I found in the chat finally, because I read this last week that they tweeted to us. HJ Furlong says, what would you think if Laurel died and Sarah adapted her name to honor her and become the Black Canary? Obviously, she's Black Canary now, but take over Laurel's name, and that kind of connects the name with the canary, but it's not the actual character of Laurel.
Maybe they both have the middle name Dinah, so I don't know.
I love that idea.
I have loved that idea since I heard it last week.
I did not think about that at all.
Yes.
I think that's a terrific idea.
I saw that one. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Although I also don't get the feeling they're going to kill off Laurel. But wouldn't it be ballsy if they did? Wouldn't it be really ballsy if they did?
But she has a very important role to play on the show. That's my hunch, and I think they need to find out what it is.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, let me go back up here. Cartoon and TV Watcher asks, is Sarah and Laurel's mom coming back to the show? Because she also mentioned Central City the last time we saw Laurel and Sarah's mom. Is she coming back? Yes. That's easy.
Well, there's two answers to that. One, there's no reason why not to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't think of any real important reason why she would.
Yes, I agree with you.
I mean, I'm just trying to think.
Unless they want to reveal to her that Sarah is alive.
But then that would be her only purpose, right? To
Yes.
have something revealed to her.
But Laurel doesn't know Sarah's alive.
Yeah, Laurel doesn't know Sarah's alive. But I mean, Laurel's going to find out eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that. Laurel's going to find out. What would be the story point of bringing back Laurel and Sarah's mom?
Laurel's mom is lives in Central City, which is where the blast was.
When
Well,
Laurel's
so
mom,
there could be a connection there.
Possibilities there.
Laurel's
Yeah.
mom has been a little obsessed about the
Finding Sarah.
Finding Sarah, so that's possible too. Did the Huntress go to Central City as well?
I think the Huntress just went to
She went off.
California
I think
or
she went to
wherever
hell.
she wanted
no,
to go.
I just thought, she can go to hell. Anyway.
But the next episode we're going to see, if I'm not mistaken, when we get back from the break, is called Blast Radius. So I think they are definitely going to focus on that explosion that happened in Central City.
But Barry's not going to be in it.
No.
That's
Surprisingly.
interesting.
And I can't remember which episode Laurel's mom comes back in, but I definitely heard confirmation that the actress is set to appear in the second half of the season.
Okay. All right. What else we got in there?
Okay, ML UK fans just has a comment, but maybe we can elaborate, and says that I hope the Roy Red Arrow storyline isn't rushed.
I don't think it's rushed at all. If this is happening, it's about time that it should happen now. Especially with the serum injection, it needs to happen. It's been too long. That's what I think.
And once again, let's keep in mind, there's nothing in stone saying that Roy is going to be Red Arrow. Mm-hmm. But they showed him putting the red arrow. It doesn't matter. Now, that's not to say it's not going to happen. Look, if I had to put money on it, I would say that is probably the way they're going to go. But don't assume that that's what they're going to do. They have nothing says they have to stick to the comic books whatsoever. They haven't so far. And so there's nothing that really says they need to at this point. Because they could be just, a lot of Easter eggs and maybe some misdirection going on. So let's not get too invested in that, because that may not be the case. I think you're right. I think it is, but let's not assume that.
Agreed on both points. Where was the question? Stick Havoc 88 asks, any kind of glimpse of Slade finally donning the Deathstroke mask in present day?
No doubt.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
Oh, shoot.
He probably has it under his desk.
I know, right?
He probably
He's
does.
getting it dry clean right now, making the orange part a little bit more orange. Yeah.
Let me pull this out.
So I thought Kaori and I were the only ones that noticed this in season 1, but somebody had tweeted to us earlier this week saying, I really hope that they darken the orange part of the mask because it's not quite the right color. And that pretty funny. That actually bothered me as well. Remember, we brought that up when we talked about season 1. So let's see. I mean, they gave Arrow a mask, so maybe they will fix Deathstroke's mask a little bit to match the comics. David Jones asked, do you think that Oliver will get the name Green Arrow this season?
Yes. Very end.
No.
Okay.
No. I think season 3.
I think he'll be known as Arrow.
Oh, they will never go to green.
You don't think they'll ever go to green?
No, I'm asking you. They will never go to green.
No, I think they will eventually go to Green Arrow. But remember, like Diggle said to Barry, he likes to be called Arrow now. And I think by the end of this season, he'll just be referred to by everybody as the Arrow. When Green will come in there, I don't think this season. I don't think yet. It's possible. I got a feeling they might hold that one off a little bit longer.
See, I think that if Roy Harper becomes Red Arrow, then he's going to have to become Green Arrow. And in the first episode of this season, he was looking at an arrow and saying that he needs to be something different. So I think that it might be coming at the very end of this season.
Okay.
Okay, so Yamil Diaz, I apologize if I butchered your name. So who is the major villain of the show, but at least who's the most threatening, if we can't answer who's the major villain, who's the most threatening, Blood, Slade, the League, or Merlin?
Oh my gosh. I know which one I want to say.
What?
I say Slade Wilson, because he's the mastermind behind Brother Blood, and he knows Stephen Amell's past, and he has so much history with him, and he also has a love-hate relationship, and then there was that montage of what he's going to do to all his friends. I think he's his arch nemesis at this point.
There's two different answers, I think. I mean, the one answer is, who's his main nemesis? It's Slade. Slade is his main nemesis.
Forever.
But who is truly the biggest threat? It's Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
I mean, Ra's al Ghul's the biggest threat. But that, just because he's the biggest threat, it don't change a thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, like Bane is the biggest threat in the popular mainstream Batman villains. Bane is Batman's biggest threat. He's the one who broke his back and put him out of commission. But that doesn't change the fact that the Joker is and forever will be his main nemesis, as opposed to Bane. So I think that's what you got going on here. I think Slade will always be his main nemesis in this show, and but I think they've set it up where Ra's al Ghul is the devil in the dark that we still don't see yet. But he's the one that everybody trembles in fear. We see Merlin tremble in fear when Moira mentions to him, yeah, I just happened to let Ra's al Ghul know you were here. And we see the Black Archer tremble in fear. That's another level. That's another level. So I think we're going to see that Ra's al Ghul is ultimately going to be like the main devil in the dark.
Completely agree. I don't see Brother Blood as a threat at all, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised.
He's kind of a pansy.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes away in the next episode. He's one of those expendable characters for me, although they don't really kill any of the villains in the show. I don't see him as a formidable threat to Arrow. Merlin, we've seen he has a lot of heart, so that can always get the best of you. We've seen that with Oliver as Arrow. When he starts to care for people, it kind of gets in the way. Merlin has that side of him too, and I agree with Kaori. I agree with John on both of everything they said. So I think League is on top, followed by Slade as the always the Arrow's number one foe.
All right, let's take 2 more questions.
Okay. I had like 50 more on my list. Okay. Joseph Arnaldo asks, what trick Arrow can we see next? That's a little fun one.
I want to see one with a boxing.
I do not want to see one with a boxing glove.
I'm totally kidding.
Hey, but how awesome was it when you read Injustice and Green Arrow used the boxing glove arrow in that comic? Come on, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but
it was quite funny.
It would come across as really kind of lame. I think live action. I don't know. I mean, they can. The nice thing about the trick arrows is literally they can do anything. They can do absolutely anything with these arrows. They can. It's basically like Batman's utility belt. I mean, he can have anything in those things. I mean, he can see a girl at a bar he thinks is hot and put the aphrodisiac arrow, bring, and he can do that. Carrie's like, tell me more of this. So I mean, really, they can go anywhere with the trick arrows. It'll just be they're only limited by their own creativity, I think.
Agreed. Okay, so Travis Grimes asks, could either Diggle or Felicity die at the end of this season? Although they don't want them to.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Do I think they will? No. But this show has been getting more and more ballsy with what they're willing to do. And it's not quite Sons of Anarchy ballsy. Not that I want to go, but holy crap, if you guys haven't seen the season of Sons of Anarchy, wow.
Imagine if they went that balls to the wall crazy.
Just one of the, not the best, but one of the best season finales. It's like unexpected, out of nowhere. Holy crap, I can't believe they just did that. Anyway, but Arrow is showing that the showrunners there show that they're not afraid to do the unexpected. I still can't believe they killed Tommy. And when they killed Tommy at the end of season 1, they sent a message to us as the fans of the show. Don't ever think anybody's safe. You just cannot bet on anything being the case. Other than I'll go out on a limb and bet that Oliver doesn't die in the next episode because he's the Arrow. I think everybody is fair game, and that includes Diggle and that includes Felicity. I don't think they will, but once they kill Tommy, all bets are off. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you that there is a possibility that Diggle or Felicity or anyone can die because we don't know and everything's kind of unpredictable. But I really hope that doesn't happen because they form such an alliance and they're so good together. It would be a shame. And I also kind of want to see Felicity and Barry Allen kind of develop something. I know that's kind of strange. But I do.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, exactly. wow.
I think out of the two, Felicity will definitely be threatened in this next half of the season. But as much as I love Diggle, I could totally see them killing him off to be the ultimate motivation for Oliver Arrow to want to kill Slade.
No.
Deathstroke.
See, and I don't think they're going to kill Slade for a while.
No, and that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen for a long time. But if something is going to motivate Oliver Arrow to want to really go after somebody, it's going to be the death of one of his best friends.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for we're at 45 minutes. So I think we're going to wrap it. We could probably sit here and talk all
I know.
night.
We could.
There's tons of more questions.
There's so much more to talk about. Look, just to sum it up, I got to tell you, and some people will say to me, John, you just say such great things about Arrow because you're doing an after show about it. No, I'm doing an after show about Arrow because I really, really freaking love this show. I've told this story before, but Ann and I, a couple of months ago, we were planning on doing 2 after shows. We were going to do Arrow because we already knew we liked it from season 1, and we were going to do the new upcoming show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we watched the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I went, well, this sucks. So I'm not going to do an after show about it. I'm going to do an after show about the show that I'm really loving. And that's why it's like I don't say great things about Arrow because I'm doing an after show about Arrow. I'm doing an after show about Arrow because I have great things to say about it. And I think this season has been great. I see it just keeps going uphill. They've been ramping up the tension, the drama, the action, leaving tons of great open-ended storylines, whereas a lot of shows would just explore one storyline, close it, they explore the next storyline, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they just have like these 50 dangling story threads out there, and like next episode would be about any of them, and anybody could die, and they've just done such great things with it. Stephen Amell gets better. We were just talking about it, actually. Kaori and I were out there. Stephen Amell is getting better and better and better and better. With so every episode, he's getting better and better and better. A lot of the cast continues to get... I mean, Diggle and Felicity, that chemistry, just so great. It has been a wonderful first half of the season, and there's so many... Just the questions you guys have asked points it out. There are a million different things that could happen in the second half of the season. We just don't know. This is so great. So this will be it for us. We are not going to have another Arrow after show for a few weeks until after the Christmas break. Well, actually, until the show comes back. When does it come back?
January 15th.
So January 15th. So we're about 4 weeks away. So we'll be back in 4 weeks, guys. So keep talking about Arrow. Keep watching. I'm going to probably rewatch the season up until this point before the next half of the season starts. So thank you for joining us as we've now completing our first half of the after show for the season. This has been fun for us. We didn't know if any of you guys would like it, but we're getting like 20,000 people are watching it now, which
Thank you.
Yes,
Seriously.
thank you so much, guys.
We've had such a blast
for
talking
doing this
with
us. Thank you. So, Kaori, where can people find you online if they want to follow you on Twitter?
You can find me right here, Kaorious in the meantime, and us at Team Amazian.
And where can people
you can
find you on
follow
Twitter?
me at Campea, and keep tweeting us your theories and comments and everything. It's really been a pleasure talking with you guys. You guys have awesome ideas for how the show can go. It's been great.
And you can find me right there at John Campea. You can find me on Facebook or Twitter there and follow me there. And again, guys, thanks so much for coming along with us this first half season of Arrow. We will be back in 4 weeks to join you guys once again for the rest of the season. It's going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to it. And what was it? Somebody saying, you said you guys would do a 1.5 hour show this week.
They're timing us.
They're timing us. Yeah, I'm not. My throat's sore. We just did a movie. We just did a movie review like an hour ago for Anchorman 2.
And you did a show. We did a
and
show.
And then I did a show earlier today. I did my AMC movie talk show earlier today. You guys did in a Team Amazing show. I'm talked out. I'm completely talked out.
I don't know how you're going to get through that 24-hour marathon now.
Oh, hey, you know, I should bring that up.
Bring that up.
Hey, guys, listen. With AMC, remember, my AMC job has nothing to do with this YouTube channel. This is just stuff that we're doing for fun. This is my off time. This is not AMC. But I'll let you guys know about this. Through my AMC channel, I am doing, with my team, a fundraiser to raise money for the victims of the typhoon in the Philippines. It was the most powerful typhoon in recorded history. The devastation is just, unimaginable how rough it is. And so I have started a fundraising campaign to raise money for the Red Cross relief effort in the Philippines. When you donate money, it's literally putting food into a child's mouth there that lost their homes and their families and stuff like that. It's really, the need is very urgent. So I'm going to put a link after we're done the show here into the show description. And it's at crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. Like I said, I will put a link in there. It would mean a lot if you could click on that link, go over to the site and just click donate now. Donate $10, $20, $30, whatever you can. It's really, really helpful. I had a fundraising goal of $3,000 in 17 days, and we raised $3,000 in 3 days. So I raised it up to $6,000, and we've hit $6,000. I'd really love to hit $10,000. So if you can help us out, that would be great. So again, for Kaori and Anne and myself, thank you to you guys. Thank you to everybody who gives us the show Arrow. Thanks for entertaining us, everybody. So until January 15th, that'll do it for us. So thanks a lot for joining us. And until then, bye-bye.